Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And I continue with the Dwarves, Blind. Now I'm here in Wackenstein, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure it might translate to something like silly stone or something, which I guess might refer to the Guardian, because presumably there's some kind of a festival going on here, you know, some kind of a wacky celebration, but to gain admittance you have to bring 3 items, and I only have 1 so far, but it's not like I have that much of a choice, because I do not seem to be able to actually kill the orcs at the main camp.
A pile of wood? Or is it actually a pyre?
So let me look around, maybe I can find something else.
A bracket on which you can hang something. Must be for the bell that Henson mentioned.
Okay. I don't think the oxen's skull and the bell are here. If they are, then I can't locate them. What does my journal say about it? Ox skull, ring a bell. I have the herbs, but that's pretty much it.
Henson, do you have a minute?
Have you found Elga?
See you later, Henson.
Let me know if you see Elga.
Okay, I don't really know what to do with this situation. I do not have an oxen skull, do I? No. No, he mentioned... I think a town. Yeah. Virancienses. That's where the bell is supposed to be.
The size of the fields and the farmsteads grow as you get closer to Viranciensis, the old border city in the north. The old city wall is much too small for the size of today's settlement. Everywhere little cottages, and even the odd magnificent estate, extend beyond the wall.
The house that Henson was talking about must be somewhere on the south wall. We need the bell if we're going to open the path through the mountains.
You try to gain access to the city, but the guards on the wall are unyielding. The orc armies in the south and the movement of the Perish land has prompted the city council to lock Viranciensis up. You try not to show your disappointment, but Boindil looks at you curiously.
Is a house full of dusty books really that important, scholar? That's no place for a dwarf.
There are also books by dwarves and about dwarves in that archive. They've practically got everything that has ever been written. They've even got notes on the races of Girdlegard, singularities and oddities, by M.A. Het.
A book about dwarves? That really can't be any good at all.
You follow the street to an estate on the south wall, which is surrounded by a fence. The paved path to the door is lined with hydrangea. You knock on the door gently, and after a while it is opened by a chubby man in expensive clothes. The man gives you a fleeting glance.
We don't want to buy anything.
He intends to close the door again without waiting for your answer.
Okay, put your foot in the door. That's literally a name of a negotiation tactic.
You put your foot in the crack of the door.
Wait, you have a rare bell in there, Fire Eater, am I right?
The man pauses.
Fire Eater? How?
Before he can finish what he's saying, a red-haired woman pushes past him. She is also wearing expensive clothes and is heavily made up. After she gives him a stern look, the man disappears into the house. She scrutinizes you with greenish-blue eyes.
How do you know about that, Shorty?
Well, I will tell the truth, although she might know him and not like him or something, but I guess I wouldn't know.
A man called Henson.
Henson? The vagabond that broke into our house? Now he's sending groundlings to assassinate us and steal our belongings. What did he tell you? That we have gold, jewels?
No. Henson is our adversary. We want to snatch the bell away from under his nose.
The woman's eyes pierce through you. You manage with great effort to resist her gaze.
I'd like to get that ugly thing out of the house. All right then. I'll sell you the bell for 500 gold pieces.
Okay, but to be honest, I'm annoyed that the protagonist lied without asking me for input. Like, I would have just told the whole story, which is that I didn't know that Henson harassed them, and that I'm not necessarily working for him, I'm working for myself. But oh well.
500 gold coins. All right then.
The woman takes the pouch of gold from you with a broad grin and disappears through the door, which slams shut with a loud bang.
Hello?
Have you been duped? It dawns on you that you haven't yet seen the bell. The door opens again. The man of the house pushes out a wheelbarrow containing a large object inside a sack.
May Fire Eater bring you great pleasure.
The man dumps the bell on the floor with a muffled bong. He seems anything but happy that his wife has sold the bell.
Okay, but I also need the oxen head. No, I mean skull. Could I maybe find it in Seaton somehow? Because, you know, I thought at first that the question mark must be because of the bugged quest with the woman that has stolen the grain. But maybe that's actually not true.
In the middle of the path in front of you, you see an upended wagon, but neither draft animals nor owner are in sight. You approach carefully, but still can't make anything out from close up, apart from a few arrows sticking into the side of the wagon.
Perhaps we should.
Before you can finish what you're saying, the screams of a woman come from the nearby woods.
Okay, let's go help her.
Without giving it much thought, you rush off towards the screaming. After a short sprint through the forest, you arrive at a small clearing. Standing in the middle of it is a woman in a simple peasant dress, who's being threatened by two armed men. You step forward confidently.
Hey!
The two men turn around immediately. The woman stands up too, and draws a weapon herself. 3 swords are aimed at you, and Nomura has some more bad news for you.
There are archers in the trees. It's a trap.
Hey, give us your provisions, and
And your gold, too!
Well, how about no?
We are seasoned dwarves and have killed hundreds of orcs. Do you want to see what Boindeel here can do with his axes?
Your words seem to have completely floored the thieves. The woman answers for them.
You don't scare us, groundling.
You give Rodario a sign. He nods, gets into position, and then fires off a jet of flame from his sleeve in the direction of the thieves. Without another word, the thieves take to their heels and run into the forest.
Should we follow them?
Do I want to kill them? Like, they are highwaymen, and I doubt they are going to change their ways just because I scared them once. I will follow them. If they are going to defend themselves, then we're going to fight to the death. And if not, then I guess maybe I can talk to them some more and like scare them straight or something.
Namora follows the thieves while you wait in the clearing. As evening approaches, a figure appears next to you from out of the darkness.
Namora!
Fergus jumps up and moments later has embraced her tightly.
Were you able to find out anything?
They didn't detect me and led me straight to their hideout. I can show you. It's a cave some miles from the path. Almost 4 people, men, women and children.
You nod. You have tracked down the thieves' hideout.
Children? Interesting. I will check it out.
You can make out a cave in the bank of a dried-out riverbed, with several small fires burning in it. You don't see any guards, so you approach carefully. Men and women jump as they notice you. There is terror written in their emaciated faces. When a little girl screams and runs away from you, the whole camp is alerted, and a group of men and women step out of the cave.
Who are you?
The man resembles Tavia. His face too tells of a struggle between defiant determination and fatigue and resignation.
I am Gerald, Tavia's brother. I led these people here from Tabayin.
You look around you. You guess there are about 10 families, less than 50 people. Half of them are children and youths. Tabayin is a fertile country in the north, but much more importantly these days, it borders the Perish land to the east.
How are things in Tabayin?
Gerald's expression changes. It's as if he's looking through you.
The Perish land is raging. It poisons the spirit, and those who become possessed by it just...
Gerald looks at his hands, which he involuntarily forms into claws.
They no longer recognize you. Brothers, mothers, children. My brother-in-law. I had to...
With visible effort, he wrenches himself free of his terrible memories.
We can only hope that the Magi manage to build a new barrier soon.
You cannot bring yourself to quash the last hope he has.
Your people had no chance of throwing us off. As soon as Namora was on their heels, they had already lost.
What about Tavia? Where is she?
Tavia was caught and is locked up in Seaton.
She can be glad they didn't just hang her from the nearest tree. I did warn her.
Gerald tries but fails to completely hide his worry.
Tavia went to Seaton on her own initiative.
Our gold was gone and our supplies were dwindling, despite being on half rations. I said we should just take what we need if no one is going to help us, but my sister wouldn't have anything to do with it. She took the wedding jewelry from our village, the most valuable thing we had with us, and sold it without my knowing. She then took this money and went to Seaton with several men. I was completely beside myself when I heard about it, but then they came back with food and grain, and I thought they had really done it.
He laughs cheerlessly and shakes his head.
For a few minutes we thought we were saved.
Yeah, but they sold them rotten grain, right?
What's wrong with the grain from Seaton?
We thought we finally had a change of luck for the better. We were praying for a new start, but then we discovered that most of the grain was rotten and unusable. They'd been ripped off by the bloody steward. We all got together and discussed what was to be done. The majority was in favour of going to Seaton and taking what was due, at any price. The next morning, Tavia disappeared. It was clear to me that she had returned to Seaton. We were going to give her a couple of days, and in the meantime, we prepared for our attack. We needed weapons, and we needed a plan.
Well, actually, I don't really want to take what grain they have left away. I was hoping for some kind of a resolution along the lines of, them coming to an arrangement with the people of Seaton, working it off over time or something, as I said in the last episode, or maybe even me straight up paying for it, But I don't have a choice.
The supplies and the grain, where are they?
Gerald glances at your companions.
The grain is mainly useless. There's only 4 or 5 usable sacks. We shared out the supplies, and that'll keep us going for the next few weeks.
They were ripped off, but they are probably going to hang his sister if I do not work something out. So maybe if they return it, at least some of it, they will let her go, and maybe I can pay her afterwards, like literally give her gold so that she can buy more supplies elsewhere.
If you return the grain, Father Malin may temper justice with mercy.
Mercy?
Gerald spits at the floor.
Let my people starve so that the people in Seaton can live in affluence for another year? No, I won't let my family die. The grain and the supplies stay here.
Gerald braces himself, placing his right hand on his axe.
Okay, that is actually kind of hilarious. I love that, to give back the grain that they were tricked with in the first place. The rotten grain. And then, I can, when they ask why is it rotten, I can just point them to the hole in the roof. That's kind of hilarious. I love that.
We should appease the people of Seaton. Give them back half their grain.
You raise your hand to nip Gerald's objection in the bud.
I am, of course, talking about the rotten grain. You keep the good grain, we will receive at least part of our reward, and Morris will be forced to explain how his excellent grain could turn rotten so quickly.
Yeah, that's actually...
Boindale stares at you. Then a grin slowly spreads across his face.
Ha! That's our scholar.
You see tired but happy faces all around you. The people breathe a collective sigh of relief.
We'll take half of the grain back in secret. Know this, good dwarf. Whenever you need help, we will stand by your side. We don't have much to offer you, but we can muster together a few strong arms for battle, and we have some outstanding archers.
You nod, and are happy to have made some new friends.
I can enlist them against the orc camp, I guess.
We wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, but we need your help to destroy an orc stronghold.
Gerald nods.
We're in your debt. We'll send our 5 best archers.
So long, my friend.
Okay, but what about the oxen head? I wonder.
The all too familiar stench of tallow and grease reaches your nose. You know what this means.
Okay, I was hoping for this to happen. Because I wanted to destroy the orc horde, so now I finally have it.
Uh-huh.
As good as done.
Now I finally have a chance.
On my way. As good as done. Yes.
Huh?
Vile creature.
And again.
Disgusting.
Huh?
Let's go.
Taste
Taste my hammer.
Kill. Understood.
What is it? And what
Vile
now?
creature.
Who's next? Of course.
Kill.
Huzzah! Yes, yes, yes.
Kill.
Oh, what bad luck for you!
And again.
Yes.
On my way.
Huh? Of course.
Understood.
Yes. What is it? I'm with you. Come here, you.
Huh? At once. For Brachus. Understood.
Yes. As good as done.
Huh?
What's up? Of course.
Kill.
Prepare yourself.
Uh-huh.
Attack!
Understood. For Brachus.
And what now?
Vile creature.
What is it? On my way! Huzzah!
And again.
Understood. He won't last long.
On my way.
On my way!
Yes. Understood. Vile creature.
Huh?
Killed. And again. Huh? At once.
He hardly
On my way.
put up a fight.
Understood. Kill.
What is it? As
Of
good as
course.
done. Forever. What is it? He hardly put up a fight.
And again.
You was
And again.
Of course. Don't take it personally. Oink, oink, little piggies! Yeah, why not? What's up?
Understood.
I'm with you. Oh, bad luck for you. Too easy. Why not? Huh? Yes, yes. I didn't hit you very hard.
Understood.
Now. As good as done. As good as done. Of course. And there you. As good as done. Yes. Oh, what bad luck for you! Say goodbye forever. That been too much for you, was I? What is it? Why not? Come here, you. Say goodbye forever. And bad luck for you.
What the hell were those things?
Goimgar carefully pokes one of the dead little creatures with his sword, as if he fears it'll jump up and attack him.
Have you never defended your past, Simmerbeard? Those are Bognalum. Small, ugly, stinking, cowardly. Sound like anyone you know?
Goimgar looks angrily at Boindil and is going to reply, but Namora speaks first.
They are like little orcs. They are even more primitive and make up for their physical weakness through their sheer numbers. They live in caves all around here.
While the others talk about Bognalim, you examine a decorated ox skull that the orcs had with them. It wasn't made by them, and somehow looks valuable. You pocket it.
Okay, great. I guess they stole it from when they captured what's his name? The guy Henson?
You enter Seaton and take a look round. The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
I wonder if I tell him what's the continuation of this statement, because I would like to tell him that they screwed them over and they've given them rotten grain, it was unfair and all that, but I'm worried that if I tell them where they are, they're going to send soldiers there to kill them or something. But I will risk it. Or will I? Yeah, I guess I have to tell him something, right? For him to let go of the woman. So I guess I have to tell him that I found them and we've reached an agreement in which they will return some of the grain.
We have found the thieves' hideout.
Really? That's welcome news.
With an encouraging nod, the priest of Palandial prompts you to continue.
We spoke to the people there. It was very revealing.
And?
The priest gives you the same look he otherwise uses to reprimand the villagers' minor sins.
They say they paid Morris to sell supplies and grain to them.
The priest wants to object.
He ripped them off. That would be an explanation as to why Tavia came back this morning, don't you think?
The cogs are turning inside the priest's head. His expression reveals that he doesn't like his own conclusions.
And what about the grain and the supplies?
Did they give the rotten grain to me? I was under the impression that they were supposed to bring it, but I guess this is still true for the most part. Like, we are going to give them half of it back.
The refugees must have been very hungry. They'd already eaten the supplies by the time we arrived at the camp. We were able to secure most of the sacks of grain. We'll take them to the storehouse.
The priest eyes you in silence, and you look back without batting an eyelid.
Very well. You have earned this, Mr. Dwarf.
The priest brings out a pouch. He thinks for a moment, and then pulls another smaller pouch from his robes and gives it you.
It is time that my congregation concentrates once more on the essentials in life, togetherness, and the compassion of the goddess.
He leaves you standing there without another word.
But what about the woman? Like, why did it end? It wasn't supposed to end? Because I was not supposed to give them the actual grain. What if the subplot with it being rotten? Okay, that's weird and kind of annoying. But oh well.
The old ruins of Wackenstein appear before you.
Okay, so what was I supposed to do first? I guess I will ask him, just to be sure.
Henson, do you have a minute?
Have you found Elga?
Henson, I heard you tried to steal the bell.
What, steal? Oh, I wanted to borrow it, but I had less luck with that red-haired witch than you.
To begin the festival, we need the ox skull, the fire eater bell, and the vervain, right?
Exactly. Then we need to set the skull on fire, ring the bell, and burn the herbs. And then it happens.
You're quite sure you're wasting your time. A huge festival in the middle of nowhere. But you pin your hopes on there being a spark of truth in every story, and that somehow a path will open up through the mountains when you carry out the old ritual.
Okay.
See you later, Ensign.
Let me know if you see Helga.
All right.
So, now the bell.
Fits like a glove.
Loud and powerful music follows the fog and the figures, crushing over your head in roaring waves. The force of the music clouds your senses, and it seems as if the statue of the blind guardian rises from his throne. You want to draw your companion's attention to it, but then you suddenly realize that you have a tankard of ale in your hand. You instinctively try it, and are happy to note that you haven't drunk such good ale since Ogre's death. The night becomes a colourful whirl of ale, music, dance and ecstasy. You can no longer remember why you're here or who you're celebrating with. For a few hours you forget what was and what is to come. You are completely in the here and now. You wake up the next morning. You're lying on your back and staring into a sky that is much too bright. You turn onto your side with difficulty and see your companions all around you, but no one else. The remains of a wild party, campfires, tents, and ale tankards are still there, but the magic has gone. You stand up, muttering curses, and try to suppress the taste in your mouth and the pain in your head. To your great surprise, you see that the stony figure of the blind guardian has revealed a tunnel that leads into the rock of the mountain.
Okay.
If we go on now, we probably can't come back. The mechanism looks like it will close the pass behind us. We should be sure that we have done all we need to.
I don't think I have anything else to do. Well, I would like to destroy the Orc Stronghold, but I don't think I can. They decimated me a number of times already.
The victory over the Orcs was hard fought, but you have won. Not least thanks to your aides. You take care of the wounded and take your leave before you finally continue on your way into the mountains.
Okay, I think that was bugged. Like, that assumed that I destroyed the stronghold, did it not? Yeah, that's weird.
While you rest under a ledge at noon, Rodario and Fergus decide to go ice fishing, and the dwarves immediately pronounce their opposition.
Ice and water are both treacherous. They entice you to them. Before you know it, you disappear into them forever.
Like in a marriage, you mean? At first the woman entices you, but if you stay in her arms like a good boy, the good life is over all too quickly.
The good life, in which you go behind the backs of other men, get beaten up and one day die painfully of a sexually transmitted disease.
All slander, my dear.
Rodario bares his teeth for a moment and then follows Fergus to the shore.
He reminds me of a billy goat we used to have. Mounted everything that got in its way. One day, he mounted a goat that was standing too close to a cliff. The two of them fell down the cliff in the best of spirits.
Your path leads you over a snowy, hilly plain, and as you scale a particularly steep hill, you falter. a crevasse opens out in front of you. You look around, but there isn't any point nearby where you could cross over the gap. You follow the course of the crevasse. After an hour, the end of the crevasse is still not in sight. However, you do find a cave that slopes down softly parallel to the crevasse. You are afraid that you might get lost in the ice cave and freeze to death in misery. But ultimately, your curiosity is rewarded. You find after an hour's search a winding passage that leads you to a large chamber. You walk ahead with your torch outstretched and see a shadow in the ice. You step backwards in shock as you realize that it's the body of a frozen human. Something glittering in the floor grabs Goimgar's attention. An ornamented gold shield. Part of it is frozen into the ice, but it should be easy to free.
Pure gold! This thing must be worth quite a bit, though it would be completely useless in a fight.
Wouldn't that be like tomb raiding?
Your companion doesn't answer.
Yeah, it is kind of like grave robbing, but it is a bit weird how the game suddenly brings it up, because I've stolen quite a few things already, and the protagonist didn't really mind then. But what use could I have for a golden shield other than to sell it? As one of them said, it would be useless in a fight because gold is really soft, so I think I will leave it. If I need it for a quest later, then maybe I will return. I will in a weigh in back and forth the arguments about taking it if I need it for something else other than gold, but for now, let's leave it.
It doesn't feel right. We'd best leave the shield with its owner.
You take a short break and then look for a way back to the surface. You find it quickly and continue on your way without any further delay. You finally arrive at the entrance to a valley that curves its way towards Ironhald, the Firstling Stronghold.
By Vracus, we've done it!
Get down!
Up there!
Run! I can't maintain the spell for long!
Put him on Goimgar's shield. To the gate. Quick!
As you approach the first gate, you see guards on the battlements. You call as you run.
By Vracus, we are dwarves of the kingdoms of the secondlings and the fourthlings. Open the gate!
Their leader gives orders that you cannot hear, but moments later, the gate opens up for you.
Report back! Man the walls and the defences!
The guards follow the orders immediately.
Who are you that lead the Alpha to our door?
How dare you speak to us like that? Dwarf who seems to have no name?
Boindale steps forward before you can stop him.
I am Boindale Doubleblade, a child of the smith of Berrowen folk. And that is my brother Boindale, who needs a healer immediately.
The commander pulls down his scarf, and his face leaves you speechless.
Only a dwarf could make such a fuss. Balander Steelfinger. I protect the main gate of the Firstlings, therefore it is my duty to regard all guests precisely before I invite them in.
But you are a woman.
You have a keen eye, Boindale Doubleblade.
The tender features and soft fluff leave no room for doubt. A female dwarf is the commander of the guard. She gives orders for the injured Boindale to be taken care of. 4 dwarves pick him up on his shield, and Boindale follows them.
Stay with your brother. I will bring the rest of you to Queen Xamtys, where you can explain what you're doing here.
Come closer, and be welcome to the kingdom of the Firstlings.
I am Tungdil Goldhand of the Firstling Kingdom.
You introduce your companions one by one, not forgetting to mention the twins and the Mager too. You then explain the reason for your visit. You report on the advance of the Perish Land, the death of the Magi, and the dispute about the next High King. The dark brown eyes of the Queen fix on you for a moment before she speaks.
What you report sounds very serious, Tungdil. You can be sure of the support of the Firstlings. How may we assist you?
Okay, so is this clan like an Amazon brigade? Like, it seems all of their soldiers are, although it's difficult for me to tell. This might not be a woman. This kind of looks like a woman, but maybe they are men. To be honest, I can't really discern from that distance. But she, the queen, has some kick-ass sideburns, as does the captain of the guard. I hope maybe she can join me. It would be really, really cool. Because to be honest, I don't trust, and I do not really like the dwarven. Like, she's some kind of a weird psionic person that's drug dependent. So she doesn't strike me as a particularly trustworthy companion.
There is only one way to defeat Nodon: Keenfire. To forge it, we need the best smith your kingdom has to offer. Help us, and thus help your kingdom, my queen.
The Queen considers, then nods.
So be it. Could there ever be a better time to revive the old commonality of the kingdoms? Balindis here is not only my best warrior, she is also my best smith. She will accompany you.
Your eyes fall upon Balindis, and you notice the blood rushing to your cheeks.
I will do my best. You can trust in my axe and my hammer.
Great. That's actually great, because I would enjoy a female dwarf companion.
We must continue on our journey to the Firstling in the Grey Range.
Then I will show you the entrance to the tunnels. You will be in the Perish Land within a few orbits.
You know the tunnels, but still the Firstlings live in seclusion.
Our isolation was self-imposed. My mother knew that the other kingdoms would not simply accept her as the queen. She wanted to give them time to get used to it.
How can they get used to it if there is no contact with them? Like, how does it make... How does the Firstlings having a female queen make the other clans more accepting of that fact if they are not in contact with each other anymore? What does it even matter to the rest of the clans that the Firstlings have a queen if they do not know it, they do not interact with her, on a regular basis? That's kind of backwards logic, if you ask me, but oh well.
Your Highness, in the name of the Council of the Kingdoms, I request that you send a delegation to the Blue Range to take part in the discussions. We all have a common enemy.
There has never been any enmity between my kingdom and the others. It was more neglected friendship and habit that has made us strangers to one another. As soon as you set off for the Grey Range, we will head east to see our brothers and sisters again. I will have rooms prepared for you and your companions so that you can rest. It has been some time since we have had guests, but we still know what hospitality means. Come to me when you are ready to depart.
Okay. Okay, so this is an elevator to the throne room.
Hello.
What is it, Tungdil?
Yeah, it would seem there are a lot of female dwarves in important positions here. So maybe they were women, the guards.
It would seem that a lot of important positions are occupied by female dwarves in the Firstling Kingdom.
Is it not common where you come from that men and women share the duties?
Of course. Among the humans and the secondlings, the women help out in the house so that the men have time for their duties. That's how it is written in the books, too.
Here, posts are assigned according to the skills of the applicant, not gender. It's only natural that the most important posts are occupied by women.
She winks at you and gives you a knowing glance, although the whole thing still befuddles you.
Yeah, to be honest, I hope she's joking, like, because she seems to imply that she thinks women are naturally better predisposed to rule, which strikes me as a, as a sexist thing to say in itself. Like, I very much believe in meritocracy, and I believe in, like, what's the word? In equal rights, basically, to the fullest of extents. I very much believe there can be, and there are, a lot of women that are, very well suited for important positions or for leadership, but I do not think they should be assigned to those positions because they are women. I think they should be assigned to them because they are simply good at it. It shouldn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. It should only matter if you're good at your job, regardless of what that job is. Because I also happen to, hold this view sort of in the other direction. I think it should be perfectly natural and normal for example, men, should they want to work in professions that were traditionally more aimed towards women, that require a nurturing, that require a nurturing personality and the ability to give care. For example, to work as a nurse or to look after children. If a man feels confident in doing that, and if it, if it gives him joy to do that, then I see nothing wrong with him engaging in this kind of activity. And to be honest, the whole concept of like making behaviors or jobs gendered is kind of pointless to me. Like, we should all just do what we're good at and what gives us joy. And if you are competent at a job and you like it, then you should do it, regardless of if you're a man or a woman.
What is it like living with the Firstlings? I haven't seen much yet, but many things seem to be different to life with the Secondlings in Ogre's Death.
I can't make any real comparisons either. I grew up here and have never left our kingdom. I can hardly wait to see the halls of the Fiflings. They were the best smiths before we took on the mantle.
Don't expect too much. Their halls have been in the hands of the enemy for over 1,000 cycles.
I read that the orcs avoid the stronghold, as if there were a curse on it.
Even reading doesn't seem to be frowned upon among the Firstlings. You feel at home here. But that isn't only down to the books.
See you later.
Okay.
You guess that this water powers all the machines in the underground city. A masterpiece of engineering.
Ah, Tungdil. I was wondering when you would pay me a visit.
I thank you, and Djerun. You appeared at the right moment. May I, ask why?
It was down to you. Your speech about the responsibility I owe to my realm. Lot Yonan was a good teacher.
Her face darkens when she thinks of her old companion.
There are 100 reasons that Nodon deserves to die. That is why I went back to the Secondlings and took another look through the books. I discovered a passage that said Keenfire can only take its effect against evil when it is wielded by a foe of the Undergrounders.
A foe of the Undergrounders? It's going to be difficult to persuade Nork to help us.
I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I think I might have an answer to the problem. The Alpha are also your foes, aren't they?
What the...
Half human,
Okay,
half elf.
great.
My mother bequeathed me her gifts and her weapons. I got very little from my father, but his eyes are an advantage.
I was kind of expecting that, and it's cool. It's a cool reveal. But well, I guess she's a half alpha, which makes it a little less interesting in my eyes, because presumably the game is trying to convince me that she's not evil because she's only half alpha. I think it would be more interesting if she was an actual alpha pretending to be a human because she disagreed with their ideology and she wanted to live in peace with the other races.
And you're sure that only a foe of the Undergrounders can use Keenfire?
Anyone can use it like a normal axe, but only a foe of the Undergrounders can command its magical powers. I don't know much about her, but a half-elf should pass as a foe of all dwarves.
That's kind of pointless. Like, why would the ancient dwarves design such a weapon? Actually, let me make a daring prediction. Maybe Keenfire is actually a weapon of the Thirdlings, and obviously they would have been regarded and are regarded as foes of the other dwarves, because the other dwarves see them as traitors, basically, and kinslayers for fighting with them. And also, the domain of the Thirdlings is war itself, so it would make sense for them to want to create a very powerful weapon in the ages past. But also, it would be weirdly anticlimactic if during the ending of the game the ultimate weapon was wielded by some random woman I just picked up over the course of the game. So I presume that since there is no proof that I am actually a secondling, that maybe I am a thirdling, and then it would make more sense because first of all, maybe they do know it and can't let it be discovered because obviously everyone hates the Thirdlings, or B, they don't know it and nobody knows it because the Thirdlings live in isolation and are hated by the other dwarves. So presumably Lot Yonan, he asked around the clans for my lineage, but he presumably didn't ask the Thirdlings because they are not exactly on the speaking terms, I assume.
We should keep your parentage secret, especially from Geralda.
I'm in no doubt that the Alpha did terrible things to her. And I'm not keen on letting her kill me.
If what Nomura told me earlier is true, this Geralda could be just as great a danger as Nodon. She could take control of generals or kings, maybe even me.
You are aware of the danger, but you don't have the energy to think about it right now. You push the problem aside.
Then that's agreed. We will keep Nomura's secret to ourselves.
Okay, I don't have a choice, so I have to say this, even though I think it unlikely to happen in the actual endgame.
Alright then. You will wield Keenfire in the battle against Nodon. But we're going to have to make it first.
You said it.
The actress takes her leave with a little nod.
How are things with Djerun? Could you help him?
He's doing well. He should be back to full strength after some rest.
You still don't know what kind of being is hidden under the armor, but the Mager's powers seem to have done a good job.
The Firstlings have offered to improve his armor, and when one of the best smiths in Girdlegard offers something like that, you should definitely take them up on it.
How are you and your powers? You look a little exhausted.
I won't lie to you. It has already been too long since I was in a place where I can draw new strength. My power is trickling away like water from a leaky pipe.
Is that perhaps a way to weaken Nod on?
No, I wouldn't count on that. Even if we could keep him away from the magical realms, the being that lives within him has given him unknown powers.
How was Sinthras able to overcome your shield? Can Alfar use magic?
No, certainly not. I don't know much about their people, but I think they have innate powers. Conjuring darkness, extinguishing fire, changing dreams. Little things that fill humans with fear and ensure the potency of terrifying legends about their people. Sinthras used a trick, not a spell. We killed 2 Alfar near Sovereignstone. They had crystals on them which they had received from Nod On to protect them from the spells of the Magi. He must have used a stone like that.
Take some rest. And I hope you'll still be here at dawn.
The Mager gives you a reproachful look.
Don't worry. We'll stand by you until this expedition has reached its destination.
It feels good having the Mager and her companion at your side again.
Okay. So this is definitely a woman. So maybe all of the soldiers here are women, which I do not agree on. I do not agree with in principle. Again, because it's pointless. It's like reverse discrimination, which accomplishes nothing. So I hope, but I guess there are men as well. So I guess it's just that there is relatively an equal, I presume, and I hope that there is an equal number of men and women in the army, which I very much agree with. At least, it's a bit of a can of worms that I'm not prepared to open in this episode because it's already kind of long. So let me just say that I do agree with that in principle, and especially in a fantasy world among dwarves. I also very much agree with the possibility and with the right of women in real life to join the military, but I'm just not as sure whether we'll ever reach like a 50-50 split or whether we necessarily should. But that's something for another day. As I said, I'm not prepared to open this kind of worms yet, because it's probably going to take a lot of time to explain my thoughts on the matter in a way that makes them understandable. Okay, but you know what? I think this episode was already long enough. So there are still a bunch of my companions to talk to, but I don't have that much time. So I think I'm just going to save for now, and I'll talk with the rest next time. So that's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.